Oh, yeah, nah, this is Rouseys Wrexham Roundup. She'll be right, mate. G'day and welcome to Rousey's Wrexham Roundup promotion, baby. That's right, Wrexham are a championship team. And I just was dying to speak to some people that were there on the day. And I thought, you know what? Who better to talk to than my good friends, my Wrexham family? So if I fuck up, you can just blame mum and dad when they come on. Me, the wife, and Wrexham. I love these guys. Ryan and Sean, thank you for coming back and being on my new show because you're so used to being two beards with me and Adrian, and now you're here with just lonely old me. How
I
are you
know.
guys?
We're good.
Yes, we're good.
Very good. It's still a bit surreal though, isn't it? Really. It's you just sort of like I just keep remembering that we got promoted on Saturday. And it's just like it's just a bit odd, really. I think it'll take a little bit of time just to settle in. I do keep remembering and then having a little look at the championship and looking at all the teams there.
I go in, oh hell.
Yeah, and then going, oh, right, okay, that's going to be tough. But I remember doing that last season, so it's not, it's not like I remember looking at League One, going, oh, Bolton, Huddersfield, Birmingham, Rotherham, and all of them, and then you saw, and and being really scared, and that was easy, wasn't it? So,
Oh,
ish.
Ish.
Wrexham are a championship team. Let that just settle in. A championship team. I share the same view as you. It's really, really struggling to get it to sink in that fucking we've 2 3 years ago we were playing the likes of Yeovil and Torquay and you know Scunthorpe. It's
Yeah,
like, and next season we're going to be playing the likes of West Brom and Sunderland, possibly, um, Leicester.
Leicester. Mm,
Fucking mental,
I know.
absolutely mental, and I can't get my head around it. I know I picked the boys from the start of the season to go second place, but for it to actually happen and to watch it happen the way it did, it's just not sinking in. It's just not, it just doesn't seem real, does it?
No, it doesn't, not at all. And like I say, I think it'll take a bit of time to
Good
get you.
feeling though, isn't it?
It is a good feeling, yeah. And then because I think you have all that stress, don't you, as the season's going on, and then you get to relax a bit because you go, oh, it's done now, and we're promoted. And then you get about a day of relaxing, then you start thinking about all the even bigger teams that you've got to play next season, and then the stress starts again. I suppose that's football, really, isn't it? It's just a horrendous cycle of just
Stress.
stress, and then you die.
So
Bloody hell.
let's revisit the day. So it started off obviously Wrexham are playing at 5:30 p.m. UK time. So unusually late in the day, but obviously,
Mm.
they wanted to get that on for TV rights. And Wickham were obviously playing in the very early games. So what did you do? Did you watch the Wickham game? How did your day start? Let's start from that.
Well,
You woke up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
well, we the day before we were like, we're not watching it. Because my dad was like, oh, we'll come round and watch the football with you, blah blah blah. And then we were like, we're not watching it, Dad, it's too stressful. And then it was like 25-1, and Ryan was like, oh, the Wickham game started.
No, what I actually said was because we'd agreed not to watch it. What I actually said was, are we just ignoring that this
Oh, and
game's
I
happening?
said, I want to watch it. I would like to watch it. So Ryan was like, oh, put it on then. Like I needed to twist his arm. So we put it on. And when the first goal went in, or the only goal,
Yeah,
it was very exciting and like, oh my God, we could actually do this.
yeah. It just felt like destiny, though. I think the whole day just felt like it was meant to be. And I sort of woke up in the morning thinking, right, today's the day that we're getting promoted. It didn't stop the nerves, But I definitely woke up thinking, right, today is the day that it's happening. It's not going to roll over till next week. We're not going to end up in this horrible dogfight where one of four teams could get promoted on the last day. Today's the day. And watching the Wickham game, it was. I was trying not to get anxious and stressed about it, but Leighton Orient, I think they were definitely the better team.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been more than one. I don't think Wickham really produced very much. So yeah, when that was 1-0, it was like, right, okay, that's the first bit done. Even though we had nothing to do with it, that's the first piece of the puzzle that we need to get this done. And then it was just, we had to just then move on to the anxiety of us actually playing, I suppose.
Big gap between their game and our game as well. You know,
Ridiculously. It's ridiculous. It was like, why couldn't they just put us on? Well, I know why they didn't put us on,
Yeah.
but it was just I was pacing around the house for ages, and I got to a point where I was like, how long's gone? You know, like when you're watching a game and you're winning by like one, and you keep looking at the clock and like 20 seconds gone. That's what it was like between the end of the Wickham game and the start of the Wrexham game. It was just constantly checking the time. How long? What time is it now? Are we leaving now? No, Ryan. The Wickham game only finished 4 minutes ago, and it's like, so it was stressful.
It
But
was a stressful day.
I think when you look back, you forget the stress, don't you? It's just you just remember the good stuff. So
Yeah,
I think I was happy.
I remember when it happened because I was watching the results down here from the weekend game, and I was going to be watching the game with my mum, who never stays up late for or that late for games. Because here it was 12:30 in the morning that the game was on, so Wickham was on at 7:30 p.m. And I was watching, the watch-alongs from the local pundit and things like that, and just because I didn't want to pay for the game. I'm not paying for no fucking Wickham game. Screw that. Um, but yeah, so I, watching the game, and as soon as the penalty happened and it went in, I was like, holy shit, it is on. Promotion's on. And I walked out of my room, looked at my mum and said, Mum, promotion's on. It's happening. And she looked at me and she knew that I was 100% sure that we were going up that day because I honestly was. I felt it. It was just something that was very, very familiar from previous years, from promotion out of the National League, promotion from League Two to League One. Felt very, very similar. And a lot of this season has mirrored the League Two season, which I kind of find fascinating that, in League Two we struggled against those lower bottom ladder teams. And this season we did the same. But we'll get on to the season wrap up in another episode. But yeah, like I said, just felt the same. I knew it was like this is going to happen. Like we're going to see history made. This team is just unlike any other football team in the whole entire UK, in my opinion. And I know I may be biased because I am a Wrexham fan, but just what they've been able to achieve is insane. It really is. And I remember when that happened and looking forward to the game, and I was like, Ryan, you got to call me from the pitch when it happens. Because I just wanted to be there so bad because it was a historic moment. Um, but yeah, so anyway, we'll backtrack a little bit. We'll go. So okay, I think I might have seen you guys walking in the march.
Okay.
Did you guys do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we did. We sort of cheated a little bit though. You might have seen us because we got to the Lager Club. We're like, we definitely want to be part of this. But we saw how many people were there, and then we were like, oh right, so all of these people are marching up to the ground, and then everyone's going to be trying to get in all at once. Everyone's going to be trying to get a drink at the same time when they get inside. So we thought, I know what we'll do. We'll position ourselves right at the front so that we're the first to get to the ground, the first to get to the bar. And yeah, so we did it. but sort of cheated a little bit by just walking past everyone right to the front to make sure
Mm.
we were there. But it was great. The atmosphere all day was great, wasn't it? The atmosphere during marching up was great. People singing, people driving past, you know, honking horns, and yeah, it was great. Lots of clowns everywhere, for obvious.
Do you know
That's to
what?
be
Weirdly,
expected.
though,
Yeah,
talking of clowns, right? There was a guy dressed up as a clown, and I think he was on like the highlights. He's on something from Wrexham that they posted anyway. And I, for some reason, I didn't click. Like Ryan's dad was like, "Oh, look at that clown there," and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool fancy dress." Didn't click in my head that they were referring to the comment that Nathan Jones had said about coming to the circus. And then afterwards, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's why they're dressed up as clowns."
did you not wonder why there was so many
No, do you know
clowns?
what? I only saw him.
Oh, did you?
I only saw him, so I
All
I
right,
didn't
okay.
think there was like a running theme, but then I realised. But yeah, when everybody was singing and stuff like that
Yeah,
about Nathan Jones and that, it was just the clowns were very apt at
yeah.
that time.
And it
So
just
yeah,
went, it
Mm.
clicked at that point.
it clicked. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
His
did. I said to your
team,
dad at half time.
his team looked lost, to be fair. They really looked like they couldn't cope with that atmosphere. And I
Yeah, it's
think
weird though.
if you watch the
Because
highlights back, not so much the highlights, but you actually watch the replay of the game back, there was a moment in
yeah.
the game where Nathan Jones actually shirt fronts one of his players and is like fully just going to town on him. It was during when the goalkeeper went down and they had a bit of a
Ah,
drink
yeah,
break. And the player just looked so dejected. I can't remember who it was, but just looked so dejected and like they did not have an answer for us that day. They didn't know how to break us down, and that's because the style of football that we played, I think, really took them by surprise. The crowd took them by surprise, um, and we literally saw them implode before our eyes. They had no answer. And this is Charlton. Like they were
hmm
the informed team.
yeah,
It's to see that happen, them have no answer. I mean, that just goes to show how hard it is for teams to come to the race course, especially when they're cooking. But I think
hmm
in general as well, it comes down to the fact that the team that we've got, the manager that we've got, has experience in these types of games, in these big games. And they've really, really pulled it together on the day. Boy, did they. When that first goal went in, actually, two questions here for you guys. When that
hmm
first goal went in, how mental was that? But then again, the second goal, which was Sam Smith's scissor kick from
yeah,
over the shoulder, passed by Matty James, which we now learn that they've actually spoken about in training. So
Yeah, yeah.
obviously he has a penchant for good volleys. Um, which one of those goals was better? Because both of them were screamers, weren't they?
Second for me.
I think the second Sam Smith goal, yeah, the scissor kick, I think it's definitely that'll just go down in Wrexham history. I think it was like, although Ollie Palmer, what am I talking about him for? Ollie Rathbone's goal, I thought was superb as well. I love Ollie Rathbone. I think he's amazing. But yeah, the second Sam Smith goal for me,
I think,
definitely.
yeah, I think with Ollie's, it was the one that broke the deadlock. It's the one that settled everyone down, and it was, but I think with Ollie's, he hit it. It's gone through about three players. The keeper's really unsighted, and when you sort of see the replay from sort of behind the strike, it actually goes in quite close to the keeper as well. If and I think the keeper's probably seen it quite late. Not trying to take anything away from it, but I just think if the keeper sees that at the point that he hits it, he saves it.
Yeah.
And I think whereas with the Sam Smith one, he had a clear sight of that, the keeper, the whole way, and he could do nothing about it. So I think that's why for me, I think the second one definitely. And for anybody who's never played football before, the difficulty level in doing something like that is just off the charts because for it to be dropping over your shoulder in that way, so you're looking behind you to then have to follow it round your body and connect with it in the way that he did. That I mean, and put it in the corner where the keeper was never going to reach it. That was, that's real skill, and
Could
that's
we be
something that
talking
you.
goal of the season?
Um, I
Definitely in
don't know. Do you know
contention.
what?
Definitely a contender.
It's
Yeah,
got it.
definitely.
It's got to be. One strange thing I was talking to someone about this is Wrexham as a club. When you think back over the season, we don't score many what you would call worldies, do we? We're not scoring loads from like 25, 30 yards. They're always just quite well drilled moves, and sometimes you get really nice slick passing, but we don't really score, like I say, worldies. But that one is, yeah, I think it's got to be right up there, not just because of the goal, but because of what it meant and the sort of pressure of the game as well. I think, it's you've got to take all them sort of things into account. It's probably right up there, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Gotta
Yeah.
be, gotta be. I mean, it's just I can't believe still even talking about it now is just bringing back all the memories and the goosebumps and stuff. It's pretty amazing. So the third goal went in, obviously another a brace from Sam Smith, a picture perfect cross from Max Cleworth, and getting in front of your defender, classic, getting in front and dropping it on a dime and heading it straight through. So when that happened, was there ever a moment of shit, like that's it, that's done, that's we're up, where there's no coming back from that? I personally, I thought after the first one it was done because I didn't think the way they were playing that they were going to be able to come back. Second one was the nail in the coffin, and the third one, well, to me, that was just showing off.
It did that
What?
for me, that third goal,
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I predicted 3-0. And, me and Sam had had a little chat beforehand. And
I wasn't
I
relaxed
saw
until
that,
the
and I've just got
third.
to say, Sean, fucking well done. Like to get that score
thank you.
prediction against Charlton, like one of the most informed sides, and you're like, nah, fucking 3-0. Like, just
Go hard or go home, innit?
you deserve
Go
that.
hard or go home.
But yeah, no, seriously, like when that third goal went in, and you knew then and there that it was done. There's no possibility that they're going to come back 3 goals in 10 minutes. I mean, it's not unheard of. It has been done, but it's highly, highly
Yeah.
unlikely. Was there any ever feeling that, you once you knew it was done, did it spark any emotions inside of you? Did you see any emotions in the crowd? Were there people, because to me, this one is a bigger promotion than coming out of the National League. Um,
Mm,
like I get the argument that look, Wrexham, we spent 15 years in the National League, and getting out of the National League is extremely hard to do because there's only one automatic promotion spot, and we went up as champions that year. I get that. I get those arguments, but League One is such a tough league, and to
yeah.
go into the championship with teams from the Premier League that have just come down from the Premier League with big, massive historical clubs, League One still has that pedigree in it. And getting out of this league, no one ever saw it really coming to fruition. Couple people did, but and I believe you did in the documentary as well, but not many other people really saw it. And at the worst stages where I thought, you know what, it would be good to be top half. Even when I was predicting finishing second, I thought, yeah, probably top half there or thereabouts in the playoffs. But they just go and blow us all away and get second spot. So when you knew that this was done and dusted, what were your emotions?
I think it was more. I was quite emotional with the National League promotion because that was so long stuck there. For them to come in and to turn everything around and to get us out of that one was special, and I think it always will be. I think I think the one this most recent one, that I think that was more disbelief, really, that it has actually happened. Because until it is mathematically certain, there's always a chance that it won't happen. We could have gone from completely in the in the driving seat to get promoted. We could have ended up in the playoffs, and we could have got knocked out in the semi-finals of the playoffs, and it was done, and we were back in League One, next season. So for it to actually happen, it I think it was more disbelief than it was emotional, if that makes sense. It was sort of like, oh my God, this has actually happened now. It's whether they've been sort of teasing us that this might happen all season. Oh, we're second. No, we're third. Oh, our away form's terrible. Oh, it's really good now. Oh, all of a sudden we're losing games at home. So and I knew it would be that sort of roller coaster. But I don't know. Maybe you just don't want to let yourself believe that it's going to happen, because it's like that maybe it's that sort of like that relationship thing. You don't want to let go completely, because that's when you get your heart broken. So it's sort of like it's
exactly what I did with you.
but you know what I mean? It's like I think it's sort of like that. So I think it was more disbelief, and you get the excitement. And I think it's only days later when it starts to sink in a little bit that that you are going to be playing in the second tier of English football.
I don't think it'll sink in for me until we are actually at a home or away game playing one of these
Yeah,
championship teams. And I don't like, I've seen a lot of people predicting that they'll probably put Wrexham and Birmingham, the first game of the season,
yeah,
us together because, first, second. But yeah, I think that's when it'll properly sink in. It's like, oh my God, we're, in these massive stadiums. Granted, they're not all massive, but the majority of
it's
them
a lot of
are.
big ones
The
though.
majority of them are. It's kind of like, I think that's when it'll be like, oh shit, this is
Mm.
actually, this isn't just something that's, happened. It's actually happening. Do you get what I mean?
I'm not sure I do, but yeah, we'll run with it. Yeah,
No, I mean, well, yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, when we are sitting in an away stand or in even at the Stoke Kairas, that's when it'll be like, yeah, this is
yeah,
what we've worked for,
yeah,
since since National League, really, since Rob and Ryan took over.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, one away from the Premier League, so this is getting
Mm.
juicy now, getting real juicy, and I think we need to knuckle down into that after the break. Let's discuss what waits Wrexham in the Championship, eh? I'm joined here with me, the wife, and Wrexham, Ryan and Sean. We'll see you guys after the break. Oh yeah, nah, this is Rouseys Wrexham Roundup. She'll be right, mate. Right. Now we got all the good feels out of the way, and we're talking about Wrexham in the Championship and what to expect. Now, I keep seeing this going on around the internet, is that Wrexham, they're not going to do that well next year if they. It's almost as if people do not expect us to go and change the squad or bring in new players and say goodbye to old players, and that's going to happen now. I think probably more so now than in previous seasons. I know that there's a nucleus of players. I expect, obviously, George Dobson to stay, um, Sam Smith to stay, Ollie Rathbone to stay, James McLean is an interesting one to talk about. But so there's going to be a few of those core players, but I think we're going to be shifting out a whole lot of other players because financial fair play is a lot different in the Championship than it is in League One and League Two, and it's got a lot to do based on what your yearly match day revenue is, and we're going to be severely hampered by that with the fact that we're building a new cop. We're going back down to 10,000 seats. It's going to make it a very, very difficult task to bring in, like, your key $12 million man or something like that. But I do expect Wrexham to change things up a hell of a lot next year. So we're going to start out. What do you guys expect Wrexham in the championship next year? How do you see this going?
Lots of goals and winning.
Oh,
No,
Just going all out.
yeah, going all out. We're going to win.
Yeah.
We're gonna promote to Premier League. No, I'm joking. Well, I do hope we do, but no, I think you're right. I think we will have to kind of slim down the team that we've got at the moment to kind of bring in new blood. As much as I hate that, um, with Paul Mullen, I'm a bit unsure about. I think he may be done now with Wrexham. He hasn't had a game. I think he's played one league game, was it, and a few cup games.
I'm not sure he started a game since maybe January or February. Or he's not been in the match day squad at least, and since February, I don't think.
So it's
So
sort of like, do you think that decision's sort of like been made now? He's going. Ollie Palmer, I think he'll probably go. Um, Will Boyle. There's just so many that haven't had the chance to play this season that
mm.
I think will probably, yeah, I think they'll, I don't know, maybe go out on loan for a bit. But I think a lot of people have kind of, I hate this phrase, but have kind of reached their ceiling of play.
yeah, 100%. I think
Um,
we had so many players. We've got so many players in the squad that have already reached their ceiling without jumping up another division. I think we can all be honest about
mhm.
that. There are plenty of players in that squad that were possibly a little bit out of their depth in League One, hence the lack of game time. And to take them up with you into another division, I just can't see it happening. I think there's a lot of clear out, as you rightly said. I our the capacity of our ground is going to be a big hindrance. I don't think we're going to be able to spend as much as we would like to be able to spend, and this is where we went up from the National League and people are talking about consolidation. And I was like, no, come on, just keep going.
Yeah.
Into League One, consolidation. No, come on, let's keep going. You've just got to take your opportunities when they present themselves. This next step,
Consolidate.
this next step is massive.
Yeah.
It's not League Two to League One. It's not National League to League Two. This next step is huge.
This next
And
step is
this
the
is
big boys. And this
yeah,
is this is
it
the thing. It
is.
feels like we've got no right to be here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. But this is the point where I almost feel, and I don't like saying it, but I almost feel like this is a time to consolidate, and this is a time to allow your infrastructure time to catch up with where you currently are, because nobody behind the scenes would have predicted 3 promotions in a row. They would have had a plan, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. They would have had the exact same, not just for the team, but for the infrastructure behind that, training ground, youth academy, all that sort of stuff. And we've gone beyond what they expected. So our infrastructure hasn't had time to develop with it. I mean, we haven't even built the cop that we had planned to build. And, no one thought we'd be in the championship before the cop had even started to be built. So you do need that time, especially if at some point you are going to go all out and make that push for the Premier League. That infrastructure is so valuable, and you
So
need
weird.
I know it is, but it's so you need that, and I think we do need that time to allow the infrastructure to catch up with where we have ended up. And but
Sorry, I've
it's
got to interrupt this. I've got a major what if question here.
yeah,
What
okay.
if we do it?
Mm.
What if we
Oh,
did? What if we go again, and then all of a sudden we're in the Premier League? What then?
Well, I mean,
nobody thought, to be fair, there were a lot of teams and a lot of fans from opposing teams that thought Wrexham, there's no way on this earth playing the way that we were playing as well.
Yeah.
There is no way that they are going to go up to the championship. And now we're in the championship. There's going to be fans from opposing teams again going, there is no way on earth that we're going to get into the Premier League. But I think, yes, it's good to consolidate, but we've got this momentum now, back to back to back. So why not make it four promotions in a row?
Yeah, all right, right. Like, I don't like the word consolidate because there is no way in the world. I know I've used it a lot of times, but there is no way in the world that if you get on a roll and you are playing well and you're winning games, there's nothing that you can do to slow that down. You can't say to the players, ease off a bit, we're consolidating this year. That doesn't make sense, and no player worth
I
their
don't think any
salt.
manager would
No,
say that
they
anyway.
wouldn't do that. So it is a bit stupid to sort of say that. But as a fan, what you do want is you don't want a sort of Luton scenario
Mm,
who got all the way to the Premier League and are now sort of staring down the barrel of back-to-back relegations back to League One from the Premier League. And momentum works both ways. And what you don't want is you don't want to rush your way all the way there to
just to come
be
back down
just
again.
to have a huge fall from grace.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that it would happen like that for us. But at the same time, you don't want to be rushing things. And like you rightly say, this is the big boys now. Forget the Premier League, that's another level completely. But this
They're the bigger
is
boys.
they are, some of the teams we already mentioned. You've got Southampton in there. You've got Blackburn. Remember playing Blackburn in the FA Cup not that long ago. They didn't have the strongest of squads, Blackburn at the time,
Mm.
but they showed us what a championship team
Well, to
is.
be
Oh,
fair,
And
we were well and truly off our form on that day. And
yeah, we were,
that
we
was the
were, we
start of
were.
a dip in form
Yeah,
over that season. I think we went on a 3 or 4 game dip in
yeah,
form. So we
yeah,
faced them whilst we're at a dip in form. My personal
yeah.
opinion of it is if we play the same way we played Charlton and we can replicate that every single game, we are going to be a problem for many
yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
Which
So
that's what you want to be. You want to be a thorn in everyone's side. You want to. My biggest worry though is like you just said. Then if we play like we did against Charlton, my
Unfortunately, that's not going to happen.
from if we're honest, how many times have we seen them play like they did against Charlton this season? That isn't our that for me is the perfect way to play football. They did everything right. They kept the ball on the floor. They passed it. We've got the players to do that. But that isn't Phil's go-to tactic and the way he likes to play football. Although on Saturday it was so spectacular
Yeah.
and so impressive and so enjoyable to watch. You would want them to do that all the time. Unfortunately, that just isn't what we do. And we are very much about grinding results out at times. So I don't know. We've talked about ceilings for players, which I know you hate.
Hmm.
It's not just players who have ceilings as well. It is managers, and we don't know what lies ahead. And look, I was saying we should build Parky a statue
Mm.
last week, and I still think we should. But what's his ceiling? He's been in the championship before, and he's really struggled at that level. So, has he learned from being in the championship before? And is he going to, take everything he's learned from being there before and not doing so well and push us forward in a different direction? There's so many what ifs.
I'd
It's
be
just,
interested to see his style now in the championship because
yeah,
a
and
lot of
me.
the time, like even back in the days when he had to coach Sunderland and things like that, I don't know if he had his pick of the players,
Yeah.
Whereas the difference here is our owners, they completely invest in Phil Parkinson's view. They trust in
Mm.
him. They trust him to make the right decisions, the right choices, the right tactics, all that sort of stuff. They don't get involved on a ground level with what Phil Parkinson's doing. So it'll be interesting to see how his side and his defensive style does stack up in the championship because
Yeah.
I know it is a different ball game. The international market opens up. Premier
Mm.
League teams are more likely to loan to play to teams in the championship. I know
Hmm.
we're not big on the loan market, but so many avenues now open up to the club to attract in major talents just from being in the championship alone. Now, the with Parky's defensive style and him having the ability to bring in players that suit his style that he's already been able to recognize, I just have a feeling he's going to do pretty well. I think
Yeah.
we're definitely not coming back down. Let's put it that way.
No, I
Mm.
think, it's one of them scenarios where he's very much being judged by a lot of people without even sort of setting a team up once for Wrexham in the championship. He's already been judged by previous experience in the championship. But he's not the same guy anymore. So we've got to go. Just got to let it flow, see what
Yeah.
happens.
I'll give you a perfect
And
example. Frank Lampard. Look
yeah,
at what he did at Coventry. He wasn't really good. He didn't have the best stint at Chelsea towards the end. He went away. He studied a lot from a lot of the big coaches, Jurgen Klopp and a few of the top European coaches. He studied them, took in everything and learnt what he could, and then got the job at Coventry and dragged them out of the crap, out of
yeah,
relegation, and now into playoff contention. So when you give a coach that freedom to make those choices, the world's your oyster. So
yeah,
that's why I
yeah,
say the way I do. But just to visit that, I know next year or next season is going to be massive. I'm going to be in Wrexham in November, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you too. Um, we'll have to go somewhere for a nice lunch or something.
yeah.
But
100%.
what teams next year, given the current state? So we know Ipswich, Southampton, and what's the other team
Leicester.
coming down from the Premier League? Leicester coming down from the Premier League, and we know that um, Birmingham and us are already going up. What teams are you looking forward to most seeing as an away day next year?
I As weird as it is, I was telling the lads in work today actually that I'd like to go to Luton. I know it's not the biggest of grounds, but I'm so intrigued about the way that their stadium is built around the houses and like the houses are like incorporated into a stand. So yeah, I want to go to
You
I
got
want
to
to go
get on
to
that while it
Luton, I
lasts
think.
because they're building a new stadium.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
oh, okay. Scrap
They,
Luton then.
there's loads though, isn't there? There's loads of away days that you go, yeah, want to go there, want to go there. There's some I've already been to, so but
Oh, bully for you.
I think Sunderland's a big one. Will
Yeah.
they be there? Will they not? I don't know. West Brom, there's
Leicester.
Leicester's massive because we are going to be playing a team in the league that have not only won the Premier League in the last 10 years, but have won the FA Cup in the last 10 years as well. So we're not talking about, we play lots of teams who in their history have won the FA Cup, because the FA Cup's been around for 160 years. But we're going to be standing side by side with a team who have won it in the last 10 years, which to me is mental. The Southamptons. I think Swansea's huge though. I
Yeah.
wish
The
Cardiff were
North
there
South.
as well. Yeah, it
Yeah.
would have been nice to have three Welsh clubs in the same league, Cardiff, Wrexham, and Swansea. But Cardiff have gone down. Celavi. We've got Swansea. That'll be a really good away day. I've been to Millwall before, but Sean,
Don't they have like really angry players at
That's
Millwall?
gonna
Don't
be
they? Haven't they?
that's gonna be a proper juicy game. That Wrexham
yeah, yeah,
versus
yeah.
Yeah,
Millwall. I'm calling that now. That's gonna be really full on.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to go to that one.
I'll go on my own to that one.
Go
Yeah,
on, get on the old
there's
Green
so
Street.
many. Yeah. There's the Watfords. There's you could just literally go down the whole list and go, yeah, I want to go there. I want to go there. I want to go there. And yeah, I'm just excited, and I don't know how it's gonna go. I know how I'd like it to go, but I don't know.
Yeah, but you were like that with the when we went into League One. You're like, I don't know what's going to happen. You
But
know, we
just
play.
enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what we've got to do, and fans have got to understand that Parky has got us through three promotions, and so he's done something that no other manager has ever done before.
Mm.
In the top five
In
leagues.
the top five leagues,
Before
yes.
you get all the bloody
Yeah.
teams from like National League South saying, "Oh, we did it."
Yeah, from the top teams. And but I can guarantee you because they did it when we were in the league when we got to League One and we were playing not good football. They were like, "Oh, get Parky out, get Parky out." But people have just got such short memories. And I think we all need to, like you said, with Frank Lampard, he did rubbish at Chelsea, but then
And Everton, let's be honest.
yeah, well, and he's done good now with Coventry. But Parky hasn't done badly for any of our seasons that
No,
he's been with us.
it is about learning, but it's about levels as well, isn't it? You talked about Frank Lampard managing Chelsea and managing Everton and not really doing very well, gone away and done his homework. But then we also have to remember he has dropped down a level. With these, and I know I keep saying it, but has he now found his level? If he was to take Coventry up
Mm.
and they were in the Premier League, would he have a similar sort of scenario as when he was at Chelsea and when he was at Everton and would really struggle?
I just think that Wrexham wouldn't be Wrexham without Parky,
They
No,
and
wouldn't.
it would
he's
be
he's
such a shame.
They
he's
wouldn't, but the one problem in football is there is no room for sentiment. I don't
mm,
even know why we're talking about this, but there is no room for sentiment in football, unfortunately. Ranieri won the Premier League with Leicester. The next season, they sacked him because they weren't doing very well. That's just football, unfortunately, and it is brutal at times.
mm.
And your level as some sort of club legend does get you a long way, but it doesn't get you bags and bags of time. Not in the modern game, unfortunately.
Well, I think he'll be
It's
fine.
it's a bit rough,
I,
but I think with what you were saying, like one of the things that Frank Lampard has done, I know personally from watching Coventry, he's brought the team together. They're a team now.
yeah,
They're a cohesive unit. This is something that Parky has had from day dot when been able to bring in the players that he needs for his play style. He's
yeah.
created that team atmosphere, and this is the unknown, and this is what makes Wrexham so dangerous and Wrexham so hard to predict exactly where they're going to finish next year. Now, just touching base, FA Cup, for instance, I know we've had some decent FA Cup wins, but now all of a sudden we're going to be the team that people want.
Mm.
We don't join the FA Cup until the third round
I know
when
it's
the
mad, that,
rest
isn't
of the
it?
championship and the rest of the Premier League join in the third round. We are now in that bracket, which is just mental to think about that we are now going to be one of those big teams that a smaller team would really want to visit their place. And it's just insane to think about. But before we go down that, because I know we got to wrap things up, we're a bit short on time. Um, my point being, like, really with Parky, that team atmosphere, you cannot put a quantification on that. And I think a lot of the teams that do well in football have that. And if you can bring that to your locker room, it is invaluable. That winner's mentality, that everyone all singing off the same hymn sheet. This is what makes next season so hard to predict.
Yeah.
Do you have any? I know we all want Wrexham to survive, but do you think early prediction days, not knowing what's coming in and what we're going to do, where do you think we'll end up?
Second. No, I'm joking. I would love for it to be second, but realistically, maybe mid-table. Actually, no. Sod it. Second.
Right. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I love
Look,
it.
if
I
that
love it. I
happens,
fucking love it.
I'll bow down to it, right? But that's not, I don't think that's happening personally.
Okay.
I would be, look, I think a lot of people would take 21st right now to have that season where you're not in that bottom three and you've survived and you go into your second season, the cop's built, you've got a wall of noise going into your second season in the championship. I'm sure a lot of people would take that. I think we are better than that, but
Not second.
all the same, I would take surviving however that looks in the championship.
Okay.
That being said, I think, like I said, I think we're better than that. And I think we will be a thorn in a lot of people's sides next season. I think we will shock a lot of people next season, and we will surprise teams on quite a regular basis. And I'm gonna go dead center. I'm gonna go with 12th.
Okay, mid-table. Nice.
Mm.
Nice.
I
So
did
we
say
got
mid-table to start off with,
one
didn't
for
I?
automatic promotion to the Prem and one for my
To
personal
be
so
fair to me, I did say mid-table to start off with, but I got it. Yeah, I am backtracking. I'm doing a Nathan Jones.
Yeah, you
well
are
the
definitely.
old Nostra Rousey. I've coined a bit of a phrase in my Rousey's
Yeah.
rowdy army about being the Nostradamus that predicts these things. I'm still yet to really decide what where we're going to be because I would rather make that call once we know what players are coming in and how much things are going to change. But I would like I'm kind of settling around that 10 to 12 mark,
Mm,
but part of me thinks that they could possibly make the playoffs
mm,
and
yeah.
then get promoted through the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Holy shit. So,
I don't think every Wrexham fan can take the stress of that, to be fair.
No.
That is like, yeah, it was a massive, massive thing for us to get into the championship, but us going into the Premier League, now that is like,
But it's so weird though. If you look at the championship table, if you go back a few weeks, not even that long ago, a couple of weeks ago, every team in the championship could have either been relegated or promoted.
mm,
mm,
That's how tightly packed that championship is. And sort of like you say, really, if you take my prediction of 12th, if you're in and around that, and at the right time of the season, you string three or four wins together,
mm,
you are on the cusp of something big and the playoffs. Equally, in a league that tight, if you have a bad run at the wrong time of the season, you could find yourself in a bit of a dogfight as well. So
mm.
it's so hard. Not only is it difficult to predict now, it would be still difficult to predict in February or March next year, I dare say, so it's almost impossible now. So yeah, I think as long as we keep that sort of Phil Parkinson mentality of not bringing in dickheads, pass that test, and then still all pulling in the same direction in the way that they do at the moment, because I think that the team mentality and everyone being on the same page, I think that's worth 15 points a season easily, on top of what you get from just going out there as a team and winning games. I think having that sort of cohesion and that real sort of team togetherness that gets you, that definitely buys you an extra sort of 15 points in a season. And that's a third of the way to being safe in the championship just on its own, as long as we can keep that going.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, I'd like to thank you for your time. I know we got to cut this short because we're uh bit short on time. I know it's already midnight here for me as well, but I just wouldn't want to.
Mental.
I know.
I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on my show. We'll definitely put some time aside to actually get in and knuckle down, and I think possibly before I show up in Wrexham, we'll do a big show together. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
guys, I just want to thank you for coming on, and to my Rouseys Rowdy Army. If you want to be a part of that, links are in the description down below. It is my Patreon. Just quick shout out to my executive producers, Mad Owl, Not PC, Bryant, Welsh Techie, Sarah, and Anthony. We love you. That is amazing what you're doing. It's helping me get to Wrexham and not make things terribly too difficult on myself financially. And also, for our base tier, because we do have multiple tiers, I've got Drew, Ben, Vicente, Ryan, Neb, Mark, Deandra, Anthony, John, Jake, the Wrexham Texan, Will, Aaron, and Josh from the local pundit. And of course, Ryan from Me, the Wife, and Wrexham is in there too. We love it. Be sure to reach out to these guys. They love to talk to people, and I love these guys very much. They release on YouTube every single Monday. Me, the Wife, and Wrexham. Understand going through a rebrand too. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, hopefully this week. Hopefully we are most of the way there.
We are.
It's just the finer details and then it's coming out. So yeah, exciting.
Very
Bring it on.
exciting.
Bring it on. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you. And be sure to check out their show. Reach out to them. They're Me, the Wife, and Wrexham on Twitter and on X. And are you guys on blue? What is it? Blue.
Yeah.
Everything, Chris.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
All right.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Phone
Okay.
boxes, everything.
All right. Well, if you want to see Sean shake a booty on TikTok,
You will not want to see that, trust me.
All right, guys. We will see you guys next week. I think we'll have a Rousey's Quickies, but there's some big guests coming up. I'm working on something special, so stay tuned, and we will go with that. Up the town, Wrexham championship team. Amazing. See you guys next week. Bye.